Welcome everyone to Midweek Meditation, a little bit of soul refreshment for the middle of our week. And I am Wendie. I'm on ancestral Ramaytush Ohlone land in the Redwood City, California area. If we have a nice little ongoing community here, if you're in the Zoom and you're new, you could pop into the chat where you're from. It's hard for me to follow it while I'm leading the meditation, so I'll look at it later. But everybody else can look at it until that time. And so today is part 2 of Hanukkah meditation. And tonight we are lighting the 7th candle. We're in the 6th day today, so lots of flames. And maybe it's no surprise to anybody that we're going to look at light and darkness today. So last week we looked at the theme of dedication, rededication, and renewal. And this week we'll look at light and dark. Hanukkah has a lot of spiritual themes to it, which, of course, they're universal themes to those of us on a spiritual path. It doesn't have to be, but Hanukkah helps us look at that in this time, especially. We're in this time of the days are much shorter in the Northern Hemisphere. I know we have Don here, usually from Honduras, so things are a little bit different for him. Or if we have had people who watch the videos from other in the Southern Hemisphere, it's not the same. But right now in the Northern Hemisphere, where most of us are from, the days are short. And so there's a lot less light. And Judaism has wonderful things to tell us about how to bring light into the darkness. And so that's what we'll focus a little bit on today. What this reminds us is that, Hanukkah comes around every year. The short days come around every year. And one of the ways that we can look at this is it's the natural cycle of life to have darkness and light, to have times of constriction and times of opening, to have times where we feel like, there's no growth happening, to times where it feels like there's a lot of flow and energy. And so we can use Hanukkah as one of those times to remind us of this natural ebb and flow that is part of all life. We certainly see it in the natural world, but we forget that we are part of the natural world too, and to honor it and acknowledge it in ourselves. So unlike Western culture and the way we have been conditioned to believe that, 24/7, 365 days a year, we should feel, we should be, we should, like there's this continuity. Yes, there's a continuity that we're a human being, a soul on a spiritual journey, but within that, there are these ups and downs and places that we go and places that we leave, and to acknowledge that. And that means that there's loss and grief. It means that that's part, we cannot avoid that is part of the natural human experience. And actually Kabbalah talks about, it has a couple of different teachings around this. And one of them is this concept of katnut and gadlut. So katnut means constrictedness, tightness, can also be thought of as darkness, but that's not the actual transliteration. It's smallness. And the other is gadlut, which is large or greatness. And so you have mochen de katnut, which is small-mindedness, and mochen de gadlut, which is expansive consciousness. And the acceptance that we have both of these, and that we can actually do things to help us move from that constricted mind where we see something in a small way to that expansive mind where we we see the fullness of the picture, where we step back and we see, this moment in time is part of something much larger, and I don't have to be feeling like, I'm always going to be stuck in this small place, but that I can step back and I can see the full landscape. I can see the full picture. And some of the teachings around Hanukkah are that light can help transform that katnut into godlut, that we can actually take Hanukkah as an opportunity to recognize that we can transform just, everything's up here, but we transform our reality by how we think, um, and what we are paying attention to versus what we're not paying attention to. And so one of the other um, concepts, spiritual concepts in Judaism, is this concept of yeridah letzorach aliyah, and it literally translates to going down in order to rise up. And so there is this understanding that actually not only are there down times, constricted times, times of this small consciousness, but actually that those times of constrictionness can be the step to actually take us to a greater awareness, take us into that godlut, mochen de godlut, so that, and the Baal Shem Tov used to teach about this a lot, and his disciples, that in the darkest places are the possibility for us to actually have the greatest expansiveness. And some of you may have had this experience. I certainly know it's part of my spiritual journey, that in the places of challenge and difficulty is where I want to reach out to that greater sense, that Yah, that Elohim, God, Yod He Vav He, because I know that my seeing things from my little point of view isn't getting me anywhere. It's actually kind of keeping me blocked from, love and support that I have, from love and support of myself, and that I want to reach out to that greater love, and that sense of being part of something larger than me and my small experience. And so in those difficult times are actually times that we can find that we can cultivate our faith and our trust and our connection to that source, so that they're actually wonderful opportunities, if you can see it that way, that in the darkness is this light waiting to be grabbed a hold of for us. And not surprising, maybe. This week's Torah portion is around Joseph, who is one of those people that transformed in the darkness to the light. So last week, I didn't actually talk about the Torah portion, but last week's Torah portion, the big arc of the Joseph story is he's a little bit smug. He's loved, he's his father's favorite because he's the first son of his father's favorite wife. And he's a little, to his brothers, like, my dreams tell me you're all going to bow down to me. And they don't particularly like that. And he gets this nice coat of many colors his father gives him. So I would say he's in that mochen de katnut. He's in that small-mindedness. It's all about me. I'm pretty good. But he has a turn of fate. His brothers sell him into slavery in Egypt, and through a whole series of events, he gets thrown in jail. He's there for a couple of years, and in that darkness, in that constriction, is actually when he reaches out and has this deep transformative spiritual experience. And it continues in the story. And in fact, in today's story, he's pulled out of the dungeon, cleaned up, because the Pharaoh is having dreams and nobody knows how to interpret them. And Joseph says, it's not about me interpreting them. It's about, me tapping into the source, into God, and letting God interpret them. And Pharaoh actually says, I wrote this down, he says that he sees the Ruach Elohim, the Spirit of God in Joseph. So he's so transformed that Pharaoh can see that he is, in this connection with Ruach Elohim, with the Spirit of God. And so that constricted time allowed Joseph to find the light of his soul and to connect with that greater light. So that's what we're going to try and do today. Kind of big, nothing like setting a bar high, right? But in our bringing it back down to reality, in our meditation, I thought we'd do another candle meditation. We did this once before, and I just want to say a little bit about it. So in the candle meditation, like in any meditation, I invite you to be with it in the way that is arising in you. If you want to continue to keep your eyes open and look at the candle and see if that is inspiring you, if you want to listen to any words of guidance that I give you, you can do that. If you want to open and close your eyes, there's no right or wrong way, in my opinion, to do meditation. We're all trying to get to a place of Mochen de Godlut, of that expanded consciousness where we recognize the holy and the divine in us, where we feel our connection to that great oneness, where we feel a settling of ease in the moment and letting go of any attachment to things that are jarring to us. So these are all outcomes that we hope to get from meditation. And so I invite you to do today what feels right for you. I'll obviously give some prompts and some guidance. But sometimes keeping your eyes open is not where people are. Sometimes looking at a flame feels like it's straining your eyes. I want you to rest in this time together in whatever way feels right for you. So, and the chant that we're going to do is, or that I'm going to do, and that you can listen to, if you know it, you can certainly chant on mute, is Gam Ze Le Tova, which is, translates to, this too is for the good. So the recognition that darkness, constriction, everything is a possibility for us to see the divine in it, the goodness in it. Even the most difficult places are places that we can grow our own, spiritual depth and grounding. And in fact, as I said, sometimes those are the places that we grow the most, because when things are going pretty well, it's kind of like, okay, well, I don't really need to worry about spiritual growth so much right now. Everything's fine. So the recognition of all of the totality of our experience is good. Gam Ze Le Tova, even this is for the good. I think Lori mentioned this many weeks ago, and I knew I wanted to bring this chant in, and today was the day. So I invite you to get comfortable. I think I'll light the candle first and do the chant. And so it will already be lit. And then I'll do a little bit of guidance for our candle meditation, and a lot more silence and spaciousness in this meditation, and fewer words from me. And we'll see how that goes for you. Gam Ze Le Tova, 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 Gam Ze Le Tova. So if you want to look at the candle flame, you can. You can notice the tip of the flame where it's melting into seeming nothingness. You can notice the brightness in the center of the flame. You can notice how it wavers with the passing wind. You can notice that this candle has had a life already and has been used many times with the drips and the tracks of its life, and imagining it as it once was up above. You can't even see. It was much about double the size that it is now. And a candle can also be a reminder of that which is so hard to pin down is still present. The spirit, the soul, the spark within us that is not something concrete and hard is still yet something to pay attention to honor, to acknowledge, to listen to. And since we are in Hanukkah, and Hanukkah means dedication or rededication, you may want to take a moment and think about how you're dedicating the next half hour or so. Are you dedicating it to something in your life, to someone, to some cause, to some hope? There's no right or wrong dedication, but take a moment to think about, is extending yourself out beyond this experience right now, and what might you want to bring in as part of this time that you are meditating. And what we name in our hearts, it brings a stronger energy to it and brings our intention, our kavanah to it. So as you breathe in and breathe out, even if your eyes are open and you're watching the candle, we're also paying attention to our body, the container, the vessel, the temple of our spirit, of our soul. And with each breath, maybe you want to close your eyes a little bit, or maybe not. You get to try it. But But if that helps to reconnect with the body, letting the breath remind us of our nature to be soul inhabiting body. Breathing in and feeling the lungs expand. Breathing out and feeling them release. Breathing in and feeling the strength of the breath coming into the body. And breathing out and letting the softness in the body be present. Maybe taking a soft, slow body scan, noticing the top of the head, the outside of where the hair meets the skin of your scalp. Imagining the brain inside the skull and the center of our consciousness there. Breathing in and noticing the eyes and noticing those, if your eyes are closed, those small lights in the darkness behind the eyes. Breathing in and breathing out and noticing behind the eyes what holds and supports our vision in the world. As we continue down, noticing the nose and the nasal cavity that allows us to interact with the smells, all the awesome smells in our world. And as we continue to breathe in and breathe out, noticing the mouth and the tongue and the back of the throat and the teeth and the lips, the mouth, which not only tastes and allows us to ingest life-giving sustenance, but the way, one of the deep ways that we connect with other life, by speaking, by breathing, by tasting. We notice the neck, which holds, which keeps our head erect, and the shoulders coming down into the upper back. Not only the strength of this area, but how much it also carries. So if there's any tension there and you want to breathe into that tension, or lift the shoulders, send them back and send them down towards your back pockets, giving a little release. Breathing in and out and just scanning the body, the internal organs, the heart and the lungs, the middle, back. Noticing all that is here in our experience today. Breathing in and out, noticing the belly, the intuitive center of our gut, our way of taking in nourishment and digesting it and sending it around our body, and the gratitude for that. Noticing the low back, which many of us have a lot of tension or pain. Seeing as you breathe in and breathe out, can you gently let go or invite in the experience of whatever you're having in that area? Breathing into the hips and the pelvic area and the loins. Breathing in and breathing out, accepting all parts of the body. And we notice the arms and the legs, which allow us to move through the world, to touch the world, to be a part of and connect with other living creatures. The hands and the feet in particular are ways of walking in the world, are ways of touching and caring for, caressing and hugging others, and receiving back that love and sustenance. And so we have some time to invite in the light. You may want to metaphorically invite that light into the center of your body, imagining taking that flame into the heart area, feeling it inside of you, feeling its movement and its flickering. You may want to keep your eyes open or go back and forth as you contemplate what is the light that is in you. What is the light that sustains you? Where are there hidden, darker places that can be illuminated by the light of this season, the light of Hanukkah, the light of the candles? Is there some place that is wanting to be illuminated to you? Gently holding that, seeing if there's more as you explore and take the time for the next 10, 12 minutes to be with this experience of expanding your awareness of where there is both light and dark in you, where it may be in your body, where it may be hidden and wanting to be brought forth, brought into the light, or where there may still be dark, shadowy places that aren't yet ready to come fully into the light, but at least you can hold them in your consciousness, offer them light, the light of transformation. So many avenues available to you. And it may also be a sense of connecting to the divine light in you, around you, surrounding you. And to bring us out of this time of reflection, meditation, and contemplation, I'll ring a bell. So I have one short little bit to read to you from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, one of the early Hasidic masters. And he said, "Kindle your own flame, ignite your soul. Hanukkah is your story." So, wishing you continued opportunities to kindle your own flame. And for those that are on the live stream and watching this on the recording, and for all of us here in the Zoom live, the recognition that we are all that spark of the divine. We are all made in the image of the great source of all, Yah, Elohim. And so we salute one another by saying, "The divine light in me sees the divine light in you." B'Tselem Yah.